welcome
Thank
to
you.
FrightFest London. Issa, welcome.
I am so happy to be here. You know this.
Because you joined us through the snow to be the UK premiere of Tigers Are Not Afraid in FrightFest Glasgow.
Yeah.
You're one of the survivors of that.
I was maybe the one, I mean, you know this,
You
I
travelled
took
the
the
furthest.
one train,
Yes.
the one train that departed Edinburgh to Glasgow.
Yep.
I was on board of it. I made it.
You made it and it was worth it, yes?
Oh, it's one of the best cinematic experiences I had showing tigers around the world.
And we sang, didn't we? We did a duet.
We did. We were a little bit exuberant about surviving the snow,
yes.
a little bit whined, and we sang a duet in 2 languages.
We did.
Yes.
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was.
And what do you remember from Glasgow?
I remember that the audience, I mean, the program was amazing. The movies showing were great. And in spite of the quality, the general quality of the movies, people just went crazy over tigers.
They did. There was tears.
Yes, it was
And
gorgeous.
People were just like so moved and so, as they have been worldwide. Because I mean, to date, it's won over 50 awards, doesn't it? I mean, it's winning awards, or maybe 3. No, but you know, it says all the thing. 50 award nominations.
Anywhere
blah, blah,
between
blah.
3 and 50.
Yes, your take.
It's 34. It's actually 34.
is the official, as of now.
As of
date.
now, as of today, 34.
Are you looking forward to screening it in London?
I am
Finally?
so crazy about it. You know it from the beginning. London has always been one of my favorite cities in the world, and one of the inspirations of my early work.
So tell us about your career, because this is your, I think it's the second film, or was it third? Third. And it's your first genre picture,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
So give us a brief history of how you got to make Tigers.
Well, the thing is, it feels a little bit like, I guess, coming out of the closet feels, in the sense that before Tigers, I did comedy. And I love comedy. And I would absolutely go back into comedy in time. But as I was saying, I grew up obsessed with genre. I went to tragedy very early in my life. My mother died when I was 8. And what happens when you go through an extremely painful event when you're very young is that you want to believe that there is more to what you can see in the world. That is not the end of it. That magic is real. That if you wish really, really, really hard on something, you can get it. That maybe the future is better. So you become obsessed with science fiction, with horror, with the supernatural, with the spiritual, with the ghostly, and I did, and with the storytelling. Anything that was different from my reality, I was obsessed with, and I went into movies. I moved to Los Angeles, chasing the Hollywood dream, and basically my career dried, and I felt completely lost. I lost my father. I lost my career because nothing was happening with it. I lost my dog. I was alone. And in getting in contact with pain again, I think put me in contact with a little girl that loved ghost stories.
Absolutely beautiful. So it's a very almost autobiographical piece.
It is.
And it's also a reflection of the society in your country at the moment. That's the other hard-hitting piece of it. As I always said to people, you know, it's a combination of City of God meets Pan's Labyrinth.
Exactly.
It's your country isn't in a good state at the moment, is it?
It's not.
It's a reflection of that.
My only response to the horrors that the drug war and the violence in Mexico have created in every aspect of life in Mexico was to tell a story about it. But it is a magical story. It is a fairy tale. It is an adventure and a thriller, all of those elements, which is the cinema and the stories that I love. But talking about the tremendous painful situation in Mexico. Now, the trick is, how can you talk about such a serious subject matter, but still tell a magical story. And that was a challenge in the movie, and very scary.
Was there a moment, I mean, when I introduced your film in Glasgow, I went up and said that this is one of the 10 greatest FrightFest films we've ever shown.
Thank you.
And that was from the heart. And we've shown some amazing stuff over the years, Let the Right One In, Martyrs. But it really is, it's a true masterpiece. And was there a moment when, obviously you were very close to the project, was there a moment when you realised that you'd made something that was going to deeply affect the audience, which it has? Every audience that I've been at that have seen your film have been moved. Was there a moment when you finally realised, Jesus, I've made something extraordinary?
Now?
Yes.
No.
Was it in the edit suite, or was it at a screening?
No,
or were you so close to it that you just couldn't see
First of
how
all,
bloody good it is?
Thank you for saying that.
From the heart.
Thank you, and I know it is. And I have to say that it is beautifully humbling to see the reactions I get now. I think that I started to understand what, not me, but me and my team had done together with this movie, because I was surrounded and surrounded by incredibly talented people, is when I first showed it to an audience. It was rejected an entire year from every festival that I applied to. So not only I was not aware that I created a story that touched people, but I seriously doubted that I was a real effective filmmaker. Because even though you try to do your best and you put everything in creating a movie, when you get a rejection and then you get a second and a third and a fourth, around the fifth, you start thinking, you know what, I'm not good.
Well, as soon as I saw it, I remember vividly, I watched it straight away, sent you an extremely long
Thank you. And I keep that, I printed it and I keep it. That touched me beautifully, because that's around the time that I said, you know, people who know nothing about me and know nothing about this understand the story that I said. So it is fairly recent.
But it has touched some extraordinary people, like Neil Gaiman has come out publicly on Twitter and stuff. Stephen King, it's one of his favourites. Neil, everybody. Guillermo, of course.
Guillermo.
Now that you're working with, you had no idea that it was going to connect with these people who have gone out publicly and said it's extraordinary.
The fact that your heroes stop to see what you did with the beautiful food that they gave you all these years, and they say to you, you did well, kid. It just honestly, you feel that you're going to die a lot happier than a year before, really.
Amazing. Extraordinary. Thank you, Issa.
So happy to be here.
You're always amazing.